Obsidian waves of hyperspace crashed against the Aurora's hull, streaks of fractured starlight shimmering beyond reinforced glass. Only Juno remained at the observation viewport, eyes tracking the shifting maze humanity called the Liminal Drift. 1,000 uncharted paths flickered with every blink as the ship's engines clawed through realities, every jump a dice throw with fate itself. "Juno, you still drawing those impossible lines?" Captain Wagon's voice rippled with static through the intercom. Juno held up her tablet, the digital star maps flickering with erratic new coordinates. "The corridors changed again. We're not where the last beacon said we'd be, Captain. Something's wrong." A chill swept the compartment, the hair on Juno's arms rising. She glanced over her messy, annotated holomaps. Faint, unnatural shadows curled around the newest mark, a place Juno didn't remember charting. She prodded it, watched the shadow pulse and contract. The doors hissed open. Captain Wagon strode in, boots echoing. "You keep seeing these glitches, Juno, but sensors show nothing." She shook her head. "It's not a glitch. The roots, something is changing them. There's a pattern." Wagon's gaze lingered on the shadow pulsing at Juno's fingertip. "You're the best mapmaker I've got. You sure you're not just tired?" Before Juno could answer, a klaxon blared. The bridge snapped to full alert. "Interdimensional anomaly. Approaching fast." Juno raced to the front displays alongside the captain. On the main view screen, darkness bled across the map, a swirling, sentient shadow dancing right where Juno had drawn her warning. Crew members scrambled, voices panicked through trembling air. "Captain, we need to go." "That shadow isn't a storm, it's alive," Juno shouted. Wagon's hand hovered over the emergency jump command. "Tell me where, Juno. Trust your gut." Swallowing fear, Juno swept her finger to a new path she'd glimpsed only in nightmares, a thin silver divide, untouched by shadow. "There." With a wordless shared glance, Wagon activated the jump. Reality warped, and the Aurora vanished, just as the shadow's tendrils reached out, curling dangerously close to the hull. Everything blinked white. Time stretched like taffy. And when the world snapped back into focus, Juno realized they were no longer in any mapped corridor. They'd gone beyond the known universe, with only that sentient shadow for company, and it was watching her. The silence was total, broken only by Captain Wagon's low voice. "Juno, what did you just get us into?" Juno watched the swirling shadows on her map. For the first time it shimmered in response, almost as if acknowledging her presence. With a trembling voice she replied, "I think it wants to help us, or warn us. But of what? I don't know." Outside, between where realities once overlapped, something began to move. The Aurora hung in an endless silver void, the engines silent, the lights flickering as if undecided whether to stay or go. Juno's breath caught in her chest as she pressed closer to the viewport. Brilliant, geometrically precise arcs shimmered ahead, corridors hung with veils of shifting energy, none matching any known maps. The shadow on her screen pulsed, then twisted upward, forming something like an arrow. Juno hesitated. "Captain, that shadow, it's pointing somewhere." Wagon frowned, jaw tight. "And we're supposed to follow it?" Juno sighed. "Doing nothing leaves us stranded. That thing kept us clear of the anomaly, didn't it? Or, at least, it tried." The bridge doors hissed open again, this time admitting Patel, Aurora's first officer, murmuring, "Distress signal from engineering. There's something moving in the power conduits. Doesn't match scans. Got half the crew spooked." Juno's eyes darted between Patel and her flickering map. "Could be the same thing guiding my maps, or something following the shadow." Patel's voice hung heavy. "What if it's not warning us, but hurting us?" For a moment, only the hum of emergency backup filled the room. "Options," Wagon barked. "We take the shadow's route or hole up and wait for rescue. Someone make the call." Juno cleared her throat. "We're not in a mapped region, Captain. If we wait, no one will find us, not before we run out of air." Wagon nodded. "Agreed, Patel, bring up engineering. Juno, prepare a chart along the shadow's vector." It felt like a gamble, but Juno let instinct guide her hand. She sliced a path through the anomaly-laden corridors, the shadow intensifying wherever she lingered, almost like encouragement. As Aurora glided cautiously, the ship seemed to shudder. Shapes writhed beyond the glass, pale, angular forms too precise to be natural, gliding alongside the hull. "Alien observers." Patel's voice trembled. "Sensors picking up new signals. Not human. I think they're watching us." Juno fixed her eyes on the shifting shadow. "They're not attacking. Maybe these beings follow the same rules as the shadow. Maybe our path keeps them at bay. The shadow abruptly flickered, rippling outwards until it covered half of Juno's map. Words scrawled into her vision, etched in cold, unfamiliar script, and yet she understood. Maintain the divide. She gasped, falling back. Wagon reached for her, a rare note of concern piercing his command. Juno, you reading this? Juno nodded, breathless. It's not just a guide. It's a warning. Something's here that shouldn't be. If we cross the wrong line, reality itself might break. Outside the window, an alien face, a lattice of living crystal, stared in, unblinking. The Aurora's alarms blared again, but this time the threat was coming from inside the ship. Red strobes flickered down the narrow corridors as Juno and Patel sprinted toward engineering, boots echoing in the artificial silence. Overhead, the lights glitched, showing momentary glimpses of unfamiliar hallways, places that hadn't existed 5 minutes before. It was as if the Aurora itself was being rewritten with every passing moment in the drift. "Did you see that face?" Patel whispered, clutching her plasma pistol tighter. "You think those things are on board?" Juno swallowed, forcing a shaky smile. "If what I'm reading is right, they don't need doors or air. They might be projections, like the shadow, only real." They turned a corner, nearly colliding with Jax, the chief engineer, wild-eyed and clutching a fusion wrench. "I sealed the reactor, but something's interfering with the core. Controls keep displaying that symbol." Jax paused, brushing sweat from his brow. "The one from your map, Juno." On the screen above the reactor, the words "Maintain the Divide" burned in spectral light. Patel snapped, "Jax, override the core's quantum field. Whatever's bleeding in, trap it in a feedback loop. Juno, can you—" Juno cut her off, voice tense. "Don't, that symbol. It isn't a threat. If we cut it out, we could lose our only guide back." Jax shook his head. "So we trust it?" Juno met their gazes. "It's protecting something. Maybe us, or maybe it needs us to fix the breach." Suddenly the walls trembled. The familiar hum of the ship's gravity flickered, followed by a guttural groan that felt too alive to be any machine. Shapes moved within the conduit glass, shadows with too many eyes, stretching long transparent limbs. Jax cursed, gripping his wrench. "Those aren't projections." Several shadowy figures clustered at the sealed bulkhead, probing, stretching, as if searching for a weak point. Their forms flickered like half-remembered dreams on the verge of waking. Patel lifted her pistol, voice wavering. "Hold position. Don't let them in." Juno caught another flash of the shadow on her tablet. This time it reached toward the reactor's controls, pulsing with urgent urgency. Juno's heart pounded. The message was clear. "Let me try something," she whispered. Crossing to the console, Juno overrode safety locks and placed her palm flat against the screen. The shadow on her map spiraled, then collapsed into a single point, as if inviting her to press harder. She did, feeling a surge of cold flow through her veins. The shadows at the door froze, screamed in an ultrasonic wail, and withdrew. The alien script flared once more on the monitor. "You hold the key." Everyone on the team stared at her, stunned. "Juno, what did you just do?" Patel breathed, keeping her eyes on the sealed door. Juno straightened, still trembling. "I think I made a choice for all of us. And now, I think the shadow expects me to keep making them." The gravity surged. The Aurora jolted. In the sky outside, dozens of crystal-faced observers assembled. Somewhere in the endless drift, a corridor opened, one that only Juno could see. Juno steadied herself as the Aurora's bones groaned, the ship lurching in and out of alignment with the silver-lit corridor only she could see. She blinked away the ache in her skull, tracing the corridor on her map, a path winding through swirling shadows and knife-blade fractures in reality. The alien observers outside formed perfect rows, faces catching the ship's lights and scattering them like fractured rainbows. On the bridge, Captain Wagon demanded answers. "What did you do down there, Juno?" "Engineering just reported everything is stable, and for the first time since we hit the anomaly, the ship's systems are giving me clean readings." Juno looked up from her tablet, matching his guarded stare. "There's a path now. Like a thread leading us out, but it's only visible to me. Something about that shadow mark. It wants me to map a route only I can see." Wagner exchanged an uneasy look with Patel, then gestured to the main display. The map projected across the bridge, overlaying the usual coordinates with Juno's shimmering, uncertain path. Patel asked, "Is it safe to follow?" Juno hesitated. It's safer than sitting here until those things get curious again. But the path is changing with every minute we wait. If we don't move, we'll lose it. Take us in then, Wagon ordered. Everyone to stations. Eyes open, hands close to panic switches. If Juno's line is our only hope, we follow it. As the Aurora glided forward, engines humming steady, the view beyond the bridge twisted. Space bent and shimmered, horizons splitting apart like brushstrokes across a canvas. The alien observers tracked their every move, but made no attempt to interfere. Jax's voice crackled over comms from engineering. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. The core's purring again. Even got a weird little power boost, like someone patched us through another universe's grid. Patel smirked despite herself. Guess our new friends want us moving. A trembling filled Juno's chest, half dread, half awe. She thumbed through calculations, realizing the Aurora was dipping closer to the breach, a pitch-black fissure where reality peeled like old paint. Suddenly, the shadow on her map pulsed furiously. Words blazed again, not only you. At the same moment, a second, smaller ripple sparked on the display. Another ship, its codes familiar. Juno gasped, there's someone else. Wagon's eyes narrowed. Put it through. Static and then a broken whisper. This is the Archlight. Crew under attack. Corridor collapsing. Is anyone out there? Juno's heart hammered. She recognized that voice. Lio, her old mentor, missing for years in the drift. Her mind raced with questions, but above it all rose a singular fear. If she could see them, maybe the shadow wasn't just protecting the Aurora. Maybe the entire drift, and all caught within, were now counting on her to maintain the balance. Wagon leaned over her shoulder, voice taut. What now, mapmaker? Juno stared at the swirling shadows, the screaming corridor, and the hope on the other end of the comm. We jump. And if the shadow's right, not everyone will make it, unless I find a way to hold everything together. She reached for the jump controls, the fate of two ships, and the fate of the drift itself, balanced in her trembling hand.